Critics warn of Daniel Penny effect after Whammons burned alive on New York City subway car as bystanders watched. Yeah, every single one of them was probably like, yeah, if I do anything, I'm just going to get my life ruined like Daniel Penny. So, not my problem. A video of horrifying murder shows several people standing by as the Whammons burned. What else are they going to do? They're not going to risk getting their own lives destroyed. Critics are lambasting the so-called Daniel Penny effect after several bystanders and even police officers appeared to stand by without helping as innocent Whammons burned to death on a subway car in New York City. Well, if it's after she's already been set on fire, there's only so much you can do. Like if no one had a fire extinguisher, no one had a jacket or something to throw on her, unless you're trained in the proper way to put out a fire, you're probably gonna just make the problem worse and likely also hurt yourself if you try that. And look, this goes for everything, man. Never underestimate proper training and safety drills. Like I was watching a video from Ocean Liner Designs earlier. This was about the Maro Castle burning. And they brought up something that I wouldn't know this unless I was told and trained. But it's obvious once you know. But if no one ever told you, if you never got the training, you're just going to Minecraft yourself. And this is, there were people that already had their life jackets on, like fully inflated and everything, who were jumping off of the ship feet first. And again, it's not obvious, especially if it's a life or death situation. No one's going to think about why that's a bad idea. But what happens when you're wearing a life jacket and you jump into the water feet first? The life jacket hits the water and it's buoyant as fuck as designed. The life jacket stops moving and rebounds even, like it bounces off of the water while you're continuing to go into it, catches the bottom of your chin and snaps your fucking neck. So again, it's not obvious that that's what would happen, especially if you're too busy running away from a fire, but that's why proper training is important. Because if those people were trained on what to do in that situation, a lot more of them would have survived. Yeah, that's right. You're supposed to inflate it after you're in the water. Exactly. That's why. Like that's part of the training. You jump in with it uninflated and you inflate it once you're down there. Because otherwise, yeah, you're going to kill yourself. Now I know most of you are probably never going to be in a drowning situation, but if that information saved someone's life, that should be cool. But anyway, so the heinous crime was allegedly carried out by an illegal immigrant who targeted the Whammons as she slept. Sources tell Fox News the Whammons has not yet been identified days after the horror because she was so severely burned. I also heard that it was a homeless woman, so that would also make it harder to identify her. Police or investigators also believe she was homeless. Yep, and are working to track down any possible family members. Yeah, that makes it a lot more difficult, yes. Sources previously identified the person of interest to Fox News Digital as Sebastian Zapata, 33, who's been charged with first and second degree murder as well as first degree arson. How could you be charged with both? I guess they're going to try to see which one sticks. And surveillance video of Sunday's attack showed the suspect approaching the Whammons, who was sitting motionless and may have been sleeping while aboard a stationary F train at the Coney Island Stillwell Avenue subway, and then setting her on fire. It also noted that the address Zapata gave police matches that of New York City Substance Abuse Support Center. A man who lived in the same shelter Zapata reportedly lived at said Zapata smoked K2, a synthetic marijuana, which contained lots of different chemicals and drugs every day. The man also claims Zapata would often smoke, drink, and then lose it. Yeah, and that's another reason I think no one did anything. They're like, yeah, this guy's clearly nuts, man. I'm not risking this. Zapata is a previously deported migrant from Guatemala who was apprehended by Border Patrol and subsequently deported by the Orange Man administration in June of current year -6 after he crossed illegally into Sonoita, Arizona. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement spokesman Marie Ferguson previously told Fox News that Zapata later re-entered the U.S. illegally. Now, serious question. What do you do with people that you keep deporting and they keep coming back? There is an obvious answer, but no one's willing to talk about it. But the answer isn't prison, because then you're wasting your resources on other countries' citizens like that. There is an option, but for some reason, no one talks about it in current year. Yeah, we really do got to have a 3 strikes rule when it comes to this shit. Guardian Angel's founder, local activist Curtis Sliwa, told Fox News Digital that his most recent act of violence on New York-based subway is due to the Daniel Penny effect. Sliwa described the chaotic scene, according to witnesses, saying no one was helping the woman, but that people were filming the whole ordeal, but not cooperating with law enforcement. Daniel Penny cooperated with law enforcement. What did that get him? And I think that's because of the chilling effect the Daniel Penny situation had on this entire shitty. It was not a racially divisive case, but what I have detected is that people just don't want to get involved. Yeah. You started punishing good deeds. You're going to get less good deeds. Who could have predicted this would happen? They don't want to be penetrated, as I call it, which means, God forbid, dragged to court, prosecuted, and then have their life turned upside down. Yeah, so all of the fucking idiots out there that say, oh, look, but he was proven innocent, that means the system's working. Oh, yeah, sure. After his entire life was ruined, after like a year of hell, losing his job, probably lost his family even, public reputation smeared, has terrorist organizations calling for his life. Oh, but he was declared innocent, so everything's fine, right? Nope, the system is the punishment. Yeah, just avoid getting into the system entirely. Yeah, the process is the punishment. Yeah, that's the official term. Daniel Penny, a Marine veteran, was found not guilty of criminally negligent homicide in the subway chokehold death of Jordan Neely. Penny was arrested in May of current year -1, nearly 2 weeks after he was questioned and released following a deadly encounter with Neely, who was high on drugs and threatening to Minecraft people on the Manhattan F train when the 26-year-old architecture student grabbed him in a headlock from behind. Neely also had an active arrest warrant and lengthy criminal history at the time of his death. He had schizophrenia and a drug abuse problem. Sliwa said this case was similar to Neely's, and the sources say Zapata had smoked up to $30 a day of K2, plus drinking cheap vodka heavily, which he said was a recipe for mayhem. No one got involved, no police on that train. When the police did respond, they didn't do it expeditiously. Yeah, like that Dave Chappelle skit. The cops showed up promptly 3 hours later. And I think increasingly you're going to see citizens just retreat, Sliwa explained. Yep, if it's not one of your friends or family members, it's not your problem. A retired NYPD inspector and Fox News contributor Paul Maro also weighed in on the incident and explained that a source told him that an officer was looking for a fire extinguisher and police were responding as fast as they could under the circumstances. Yeah, like I said during my beginning rant, what are they going to do after she's already a blazing inferno? If you've not been properly trained on how to handle that situation and you don't have the proper equipment to do it, you're just going to make the situation worse. Sometimes, and no joke, if it's a life or death situation, the best thing you can do is nothing. Because if you don't know how to properly handle the situation, you're going to make it harder for the first responders who know what they're doing. Because now they're going to have 2 people to rescue, whereas previously it was just going to be 1. So TLDR, unless you know what you're doing, don't play a hero. That's all there is to it. All right, look, you can never fully cover the subway no matter what anyone says. You can, but you have to have police state levels of staffing, which nobody wants. So, yeah, he's right. And with the size of the New York shitty subway system, transit cops do a great job. New York Governor Kathy Hochul was slammed on social media Sunday after touting how safe the subway system has become thanks to her efforts. Yeah, you really gonna say that right after someone was burned alive on it? Yeah, that's gonna work. Claiming that the crime has decreased in the Big Apple train since she deployed the National Guard in March. The Wayman's was burned alive on the subway the very same day, and Fox News Digital reached out to Hochul's office but did not hear back. Probably a wise move to not say anything back. At this point, and look, I'm not a fan of Karen Hochul here, and yes, I mispronounced her name, or I said her wrong first name on purpose. But saying nothing is the best thing she could do right now, because I can't think of a single thing she could say that wouldn't just make it worse. So if you ever find yourself in a situation like this, where like you can't think of anything to say that wouldn't just make the situation worse, just don't say anything at all. That's probably going to still escalate the situation a little bit, but not as bad as anything you could say. So in this case, she made the right call, just not saying anything after that. I'm not a fan of hers, but if she makes the right call, I'm not going to be a contrarian.